Hi, everybody. My name's Jason.
I'm Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahuwah and the Torah channel. And we thank you guys very, very much for hanging out with us. It's been a day or so since we've been able to get here. We've had some crazy stuff going on. And before we get going, I want to tell you guys the finished story of Eduardo. And Eduardo's story is a good story because as the last that we left off, we were going to take the old timer in and try to find his family. And that usually starts with finding those in authority. And so we went to the very first, what we have down here is a police checkpoints. And those of you guys in North America, you'd probably be freaking out if you had a police checkpoint. But it's coming, so you might want to get ready for it. But we have police checkpoints all over the place here, and it's just what it is. And so we went to the police checkpoint, and we stopped, and we talked to the dude. And it was a young guy, and the young guy started yelling at the old timer. He started yelling, "What's your name?" And the old guy could not hear at all. And so then he started yelling at the old guy to get out of his truck. And the old guy was getting real confused. So I told Jade to tell the cop we would just take him 20 miles up the road to a other police place that we knew of. And so cop's like, fine, go. So we truck on in, and we find this other police place. And we actually know one of the cops there. And we get the old timer into the police thing. And as we're leaving, he jumps up. He wants to go with us. And we're like, no, these guys will help find the family. So I think it was maybe, 5 hours later, Jade, that we called the cop shop. And it was about 5 hours, probably.
Yeah, probably
I
4 or 5.
And we called the cop place, and Eduardo and his family had been reunited. And so the cop said that the citizen had been reunited with his family, and that was great. That was really, really good news. So we were happy. All's well that ends well, is what they say. And so that's that. Any stories? Anyone have anything else with Eduardo? Any thoughts, final things on him? Our guest. Was it a miracle, or was this a test? Do you think? Maybe. I always thought it was a test. I think everything is a test when we're around this place.
Maybe both.
Maybe both. Yeah, when we probably could have done a lot of this a lot differently, a lot better on this whole thing.
Did you tell him what he said?
Yeah, about what did he say about that we were the only people that helped him out?
He said we were the true people of God because we helped him out and gave him food and a place to stay.
Yeah, and this dude, this old timer, had wandered like 25 miles away, 20 miles or so away from where he was at, and so that's crazy. He ended up way down here in this thing. So we're glad to have been able to help him, and just yet more life experiences over here. All right, gents, we are into the book of SHEMU'EL. Before that, I would like to pump up the Yah Scriptures. Guys, this is still available. Still at $64. It may go up to $70 by the time we're done. I do not know. But we do have final stuff is happening. And so we are maybe delayed about 60 days, but it is coming through. This is the greatest English translation of Scriptures you will find anywhere. I truly believe that with everything that I have. And it is coming. It is completely available, hard print. So if you guys would like it, if you'd like to get in line, that is the place you can get in line. And they is first come, first serve. We have a ton of people already that we are getting ready to get these to the second that we're in our door. Now, if you guys would like to get the free download is absolutely available. It's right here. The PDF, the Yah Scriptures, the 66-book version of this. And the Apocrypha is the other. How many books does the Apocrypha have? I forgot. 37 or somewhere in there. And so those are completely free. And then you guys also have eSword, which is very popular here as well. And people really like eSword. If you guys would like to help this work along, there's not a lot of markup on these, but these are from Amazon, and you can get them now. The Book of Jubilees, Testament of the 12, they're all restored names. The name of our Creator and His Son are back in to these. If the name of the Son is actually in these ones, I'm not sure if they are. Actually are. Well, no, not really, but they do allude to a lot in the books of like Adam and Hawa and various things. Okay, guys, we are into the next section here in SHEMU'EL. Whoever was here who can give me a quick lowdown on what happened prior to chapter 15, that would be great.
So, a couple chapters ago, Shaul is now king. He was appointed king. He was Yah's chosen person, different than all the rest. He started as a good person. He went to war with 300,000 men and wiped all these people out. all they went, and then he had some peace in Israel. He went to go make a sacrifice, but he was supposed to wait for SHEMU'EL to show up. But he wanted to appease Yah, so he went and did a sacrifice and without waiting for SHEMU'EL, and that angered SHEMU'EL. Yeah, and he basically ripped the reign out from his generation. Basically, Jonathan would not be the king, or any of his sons. It would go to somebody else. And I think that's. Am I caught up?
Yeah, it's pretty much caught up. Anything else you got?
Then last time was where Jonathan, he decided to go with his armor bearer to a watch post and basically kill everyone there and destroy everything. But while he was gone, Shaul said that no man shall eat anything. It may be for like these day ends or whatever. If they do, they shall surely die. And Jonathan didn't know about that, and he ended up eating honey. And then they did like this thing for casting lots, but then he said that Jonathan should die, but all the people said that he shouldn't, so he didn't.
Yeah, another thing, they are in war. They're in another war, so.
All right, so here we go. Chapter 15. And SHEMU'EL said to Shaul, Yahuwah sent me to anoint you sovereign over his people, over Yisrael. And now listen to the voice of the words of Yahuwah. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, I shall punish Amalek for what he did to Yisrael, how he positioned against him on the way when he came up from Mitzrayim. Now go, and you shall smite Amalek, and put under the ban all that he has, and you shall not spare them, and put to death from man to woman, from infant to nursing child, from ox to sheep, from camel to donkey. Now, that's quite the order.
Right. So everything dies.
Everything dies.
Nothing should be alive.
And that's, what do you guys make of this?
We've heard this before. You know, there's times where y'all will be like, wipe everything out, don't let anything live. And sometimes you'll be like, oh, hey, you can keep this live. You can have this. And sometimes just kill everything.
What do you think? Why do you think the animals and things had to die? And nursing children. What's
basically, the children didn't rise up in vengeance when they were older. The animals, I don't know why.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Eli, why do the animals have to die? Any idea?
No.
Me either. 4. Then Shaul summoned the people and mustered them in Telaim, 200,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 men of Yehudah. And Shaul came to a city of Amalek and lay in wait in the wadi. And Shaul said to the Canaanites, Go, turn aside, come down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Mitzrayim. So the Canaanites turned aside from the midst of the Amalekites. And Shaul smote the Amalekites from Kaluah all the way to Shur, which is before Mitzrayim. And he caught Agag, sovereign of the Amalekites, alive, and put under the ban all the people with the edge of the sword. But Shaul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and the cattle, and the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not put them under the ban. But all goods despised and worthless, that they put under the ban. So there we go. Everything useless is what they killed, and everything great they took off as spoils of war. And the word of Yahuwah came to SHEMU'EL, saying, I am grieved that I appointed Shaul as sovereign, for he has turned back from following me, and has not performed my words. And it displeased SHEMU'EL, and he cried to Yahuwah all night.
So Shaul here, he didn't guide the people right. He let them keep stuff alive, and that is another part of his downfall.
Yeah, absolutely. And SHEMU'EL's not very happy about this whole thing.
You know, I think a lot of this is greed because he wanted stuff. So I think he got
and all the people
greed.
as well,
right?
Not just him, because everybody got.
But he was the leader of this. He told people what to do.
Right.
And so he didn't stop them from either keeping stuff alive, and he didn't kill everything, so.
Right. Okay, 12. And SHEMU'EL rose early in the morning to meet Shaul, and it was told to SHEMU'EL, saying, Shaul went to Carmel, and see, he put up a monument for himself, then turned and passed over, and went down to Gilgal.
So it's kind of a problem, because it's kind of like an idol, right? You put up a monument for yourself, so this dude is getting a lot of pride and ego, and just getting a big head about it.
Yeah, well, when you go and you make a monument for yourself, and that's not a good thing at all.
He thinks he's greater than he should be. He should have put up something for Yah or something like a rock or something, put some oil over it.
Yeah. And SHEMU'EL came to Shaul, and Shaul said to him, Baruch are you of Yahuwah. I have performed the word of Yahuwah. Now he thinks he's in good graces here, until now. But SHEMU'EL said, What then is this bleating of the sheep in my ears, and lowing of the cattle which I hear? And Shaul said, They have brought them from Amalek, because the people spared the best of the sheep and the cattle, to slaughter to Yahuwah, your Elohim, and the rest we have put under the ban. And SHEMU'EL said to Shaul, Wait, and let me declare to you what Yahuwah said to me last night. And he said to him, Speak. And SHEMU'EL said, Though you were little in your own eyes, were you not head of the tribes of Yisrael? And did not Yahuwah anoint you sovereign over Yisrael? And Yahuwah sent you on the way and said, Go, and you shall put under the ban the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are consumed. And why did you not obey the voice of Yahuwah, but swooped down on the spoil and did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah? And Shaul said to SHEMU'EL, I did obey the voice of Yahuwah, and I went on the way on which Yahuwah sent me, and brought back Agag, sovereign of Amalek, and I put Amalek under the ban. But the people took of the spoil of the sheep and the cattle, the best of which should have been put under the ban, to slaughter to Yahuwah, your Elohim in Gilgal. Then SHEMU'EL said, Does Yahuwah delight in burnt offerings and slaughterings, as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Look, to obey is better than an offering, and to heed than the fat of rams. This should be, if there was a verse the Christians should have as a Christian verse, this is it. Because not even Christians, I guess Christians lumps absolutely everybody into a giant clump. I got the opportunity, I guess it's opportunity, to spar yesterday with a group of Jehovah's Witnesses. It started off with one lady, and then she band up with another two, and so there was 3 on 1, and there was another couple that were coming to hand out flyers, and I tried sparring with him, but he didn't want nothing. And it was interesting because I was talking to him about the laws of our Creator, and are they good? And they're like, well, it's common sense is really the laws of our Creator, and if it's things that are common sense, that's what it is. I'm like, well, what about the laws of our Creator? And they didn't want any of it. I told them there's only like 150 some commands. We went over all sorts of stuff, and I asked them, say, hey, if I come to one of your kingdom halls, can we talk about Torah? They're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, you guys won't kick me out if we have some commandment talks? I'm like, oh, no. So I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll take the kids in there, we'll dress up, and we'll go to the Kingdom Hall, and we'll have it out with the JWs and have some fun. But yesterday's, nothing happened. The JWs form as groups, and nothing can be done. Okay, but that's the thing. The bottom line that I was trying to even get to is, obedience is better than sacrifice, right? That's what this was all about. It was always like this. If only we would obey, if only we would keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, if only we would be in covenant with our Creator. And the good news is I found one dude there who was a little bit on the Jewish road, and but he was a Torah keeper, and he's a Spanish guy, and he I saw on his little sign, this thing, it said Shalom. It had menorah on it. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go. We got a Jew. And then we started talking to him, and he was a little confused on a lot of it. And people do, as you start going into Torah, getting into Torah, it gets real confusing because everybody's like, oh, you keep commandments, you must be a Jew. Well, Jews don't keep commandments, folks. They keep a synagogue of Satan book, which is called the Talmud. And so, but what I found interesting was this guy, Spanish guy. He said ever since his family and he started keeping Shabbat, his life has changed. Like, things have just started changing. And I started getting the chills in my neck. I started getting those little, those little like, little woo moments. And I was just, as he was sitting there telling me about the good things in his life from a new Torah keeper, I was getting those chills, and I was so excited. I just kept shaking his hand over and over. I was so excited for him and for his little family and for their path. And I was like, where are your zitzites? And he's like, I don't have any. I said, I think we'll make you some. And his eyes lit up, and he started shaking my hand. And he's like, oh, thank you. So I got to get Mr. Cole to make him some zitzites. I forgot to actually mention this to her, but now I am. So this dude needs some zitzites. If you can make him some, he would be an amazing dude. And zitzites need to be made right. They don't need to be just braided up into some little thing. That's not what it is. It's not just to braid these things up in a braid and call them zitzites. There's a pattern. There's a way. And yes, you could have purple threads on the side of it, and it doesn't have to be, but there are some good ways to actually make these zitzites, and they should be made particularly in that fashion. And so anyway, he's going to get hooked up, and it's going to rock and roll for him. So that is it. What verse am I on? Anyway,
23.
23. Okay. For rebellion is as the sin of divination, and stubbornness is as wickedness and idolatry, because you have rejected the word of Yahuwah. He also rejects you as sovereign. Now, Messiah Yahushua said the same thing. He said, those who are Torahless, or those who do not keep the laws of our Creator, he says, kick rocks, be gone, depart from me, get lost, right? That is what you call being rejected. Now, this is something we don't need to be rejected. None of us need to be rejected, right? We have a way forward. We have a path that we can live, that we can do, that if we want to be obedient to the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator, not only will he be obedient in what he says he will do for us, but he will also protect us, and he will also give you these supernatural protections, and your life, just like this guy who just started keeping Torah, his life was changed. He can see it in his life, the difference between non-keeping Torah and keeping Torah. So it's very important. Okay, and Shaul said to Shemu'el, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the command of Yahuwah and your words, because I feared the people and listened to their voice. And now, please pardon my sin and return with me, and let me bow myself to Yahuwah. But Shemu'el said to Shaul, I do not return with you, for you have rejected the word of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah rejects you from being sovereign over Yisrael. And as Shemu'el turned around to go away, Shaul seized the edge of his robe, and it tore. And Shemu'el said to him, Yahuwah has torn the reign of Yisrael from you today, and has given it to a neighbor of yours, better than you. Moreover, the eminence of Yisrael does not lie nor relent, for he is not a man that he should relent. Then he said, I have sinned, but esteem me now, please, before the elders of my people and before Yisrael, and return with me, and I shall bow myself to Yahuwah your Elohim.
Shouldn't it be Yahuwah my Elohim?
Yeah, it should be, but he keeps saying that over and over and over,
I think
right?
there's a problem here.
Yeah. And Shemu'el turned back after Shaul, and Shaul bowed himself to Yahuwah. And Shemu'el said, bring Agag, sovereign of the Amalekites, here to me. So Agag came to him delightedly, and Agag said, truly, the bitterness of death is turned aside. And Shemu'el said, as your sword bereaved women, let your mother be bereaved among women too. Shemu'el then hewed Agag to pieces before Yahuwah in Gilgal. And Shemu'el went to Ramah, while Shaul went up to his house at Gibeah of Shaul. And Shemu'el did not see Shaul again until the day of his death, for Shemu'el mourned for Shaul, and Yahuwah was grieved that he had made Shaul to reign over Yisrael. All right.
Well, that's you see the downfall of Shaul, and it only gets worse from here.
Yeah, it only takes like a couple of verses to really fall from grace from Yah. Right? It doesn't take much. But the things that Shaul did was pretty rough. He did not obey Yah in the face of all of his people. By his own words, he was too cowardly to tell the people what they should have been doing, and that's not a good leader. The thing about a leader is you say things that people don't want to hear because it's the right thing, and you're able to do that. That's what leadership is all about. People don't like those in charge and those who lead, but a good leader will tell you the truth, regardless of if it doesn't tickle your ears, doesn't make you giddy, and that's what this is about. You got to be a good leader. Okay, so with that, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. We are going to continue on in the wild, wacky world of the jungle, and we will see you guys again tomorrow.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.